Today I'm going to describe the ActiveVOS 6.0 reporting framework. To start with, let's take a look at the ActiveVOS console. And one thing that you'll notice is that there is a section dedicated to reporting. If I click on that section, I'm brought to a page that shows a few predefined reports that have been given to you by the ActiveVOS system for both process management and task management. And these reports are very useful and can cover a certain amount of the domain of reporting that you will need with your applications. But of course, you might want to create your own to go along with them. So first off, let's take a look at one of these reports. So I'm going to just click into the active process graph and then take a look at the type of report that has been created by the ActiveVOS system for you. And it shows a graph of the top 10 running processes in your system. And in this case, I can see that there is about 28 or 29 lone process humans running. I have a few cluster replies, some quote processes running inside of my system. Now, at this point, I may want to actually add my own reports to the system that are tuned to the application that I've created. So how do you go about doing that? So I'm going to switch over to our designer environment. And in our designer environment, I have a listing of projects that I currently have open that I could start working with. But in order to start creating my first new report, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new project. So I'm going to create a new orchestration project, and I'm going to call it My Reports. Then what I'm going to do is use a new feature of ActiveVOS 6.0, which allows me to choose a project template, which is a complete sample application to start running with. And so I'm going to create one based on user reports, and I'm going to hit Finish here. And one of the things that you'll notice is that besides getting my new project is showing up in my Project Explorer, I also get a cheat sheet associated with the new project template, which helps me get started, walk me through the first steps of what's inside of this project and what to do to start modifying that project. And in addition, there's a PDF file that gives lots of useful information about creating your own reports. And it describes how to get started creating your own reports, as well as describing the sample reports that have been distributed with this sample project, and how you go about deploying those reports, as well as information about the ActiveVOS data model. So there are two parts of the ActiveVOS data model that are described in this document. One is associated with the user processes, and the second part of the data model that's described here is the human task data model. So if you're focused on trying to find out where your tasks are, what tasks are active, and which ones have been started, and who they're associated with, what's their owners, and so on, you probably want to start here. If you're looking at what processes are running and what data are they waiting for to run, you probably want to start with your process view data. Okay, and one of the things that is inside of this project to help you get started are 3 sample reports. And what I'm going to do is just take a look at one of these reports called Process Distribution. And you can see it's a pie chart that basically shows you a count of the total process executions based on process definitions that have been deployed in my system. In addition, it gives me a listing associated with each of those process names and how many processes have executed inside of the system. So let's take a look at what this is going to look like on the server. So in order to do that, I'm going to just run a deployment script that's already been created for me with the sample project. Can hit execute. Now it's actually building the business process archive that contains my reports and deploying them to the server. And I can see that the server has now added these 3 reports into my system. So if I switch back over to the console view, and I refresh my reports view, I see that besides process management and task management, I also have a category called sample reports, which is the group name that these reports have been created within. And so let's take a look at that process distribution report in its running state. And so I could see that it's actually showing me the lone process human group, the cluster for Oracle, the cluster of reply and loan process human. It gives me a percentage of processes that are executing for each of those things. I can also go to the next page and take a look at the detail execution counts that have happened for each of the processes inside of my system. One of the things I might want to do is actually make this graph look a little better, this pie chart look a little better. So what I'm going to do is just jump back over to the designer and double-click on the report itself. And what I'm going to do is just select 2D with depth, so that gives it a little bit of a nicer 3D look associated with it. I'll hit Finish, save this, re-execute it. Execute the export. All right, now it's replaced those existing reports on my target system. So if I come back over to my console and just re-execute that process distribution report, I can see that now it's taken on a 3D look or a 2D with depth look. And so at this point, what you can do is start creating your own reports. And you just do that by creating file new reports and by manipulating the data set and pointing to the right set of data that you want to bring back with your reports in your data set. And you're off and running. Thanks.